is horse of a different color, but right now there's a correction to the schedule. The African American Alumni Special Interest Group reception, it won't be in the Rotunda Market, it will be in the Virginia rooms. So just go there, that's between 6:15 and 8:30. And right now we have Mike Gravitt. He has a little introduction for this play. So here you go.
Good afternoon. My name is Mike Gravitt. I'm a member of the Student Organization for Disability Awareness, and what we're doing today is going to be a play called A Horse of a Different Color. What this is an attempt to make people more aware about issues pertaining to people with disabilities. As we try to become more multiculturally diverse in our years at Longwood, I thought this would be another step that would help us do that just a little bit more. So we have 6 actors. I'm going to get Cindy here to read them off, read off the names here. I'll do a quick introduction. Okay, we're going to have Robbie Furman, Ebony Broyles, Jeanette Kinney, yay, Bonnie Pancoast, Libby Sullivan, and Terry with the name I can't pronounce. Jamiak. Is that it? Close enough? Okay. Terry Jakimiak. So let's give the actors a warm round of applause as they make their way up.
Everybody, and Terry's wearing body mic. They were going to give Jeanette the body mic, and I asked Robert why Terry has stupid when he walks around. The other thing is sort of like,
yeah, I like.
Sounds like she said she can't see too much. There's not a concert. Okay, watching it.
Hey! Julie, you know Julie? Yeah.
You know, you hear a lot today about people with disabilities. Hire the handicapped. Disability rights. Education for handicapped children. The odds say that 1 out of 4 people in this country will be either permanently or temporarily disabled at some point in their adult lives. Did you know that when there are medical complications, being pregnant is considered a temporary disability? My married friends tell me that being pregnant is a temporary disability and having children is a permanent disability. Seriously though, don't you sometimes wonder what all the hullabaloo is about? And who these people are who are making such a fuss? The dictionary defines disability as a disabled state or condition, an incapacity, a handicap. The definition of handicap says a deficiency, especially an anatomical, psychological, or mental deficiency that restricts normal achievements. Sounds pretty awful, doesn't it? Pretty dull, too. My friends and I are here today to bring you the lighter side of disability and share our own experiences and definitions. May we present to you our Dictionary of Disability, kind of an alphabet soup. Let us start at the beginning.
Able-bodied people. From one place to another takes time, but not much thought has been planning. For me, life sometimes seems like one giant obstacle course to be moved. However, it's a little easier these days. Many covered buildings have at least one entrance I can get to, or one elevator giving access to the upper floors. But last week I was the guest of honor at a Kiwanis luncheon, and I arrived to the head of the table via the service elevator. I rode up to lunch with the garbage cans. Oh, access is there, but it isn't always dignified. And then once you get in the door, physical access becomes the least of your problems. You now have to deal with all of the people who believe that because you have a disability, you won't be able to, or you won't need to, or you won't want to do blank. They call it the spread effect. The tendency to believe that because your legs don't work, neither does your brain.
I know what you mean. I get so tired of people shouting at me because they figure that since my eyes don't work, neither do my ears.
Maybe we should amend your initial statement. How about A is for attitude?
My turn. B is for blind. Us blind folks have gotten a lot of strange press over the years. You hear such talk as blind leading the blind, or blinded by rage, or blinded by passion.
Hey, that sounds interesting.
Anyway, blind is a legal term. It means that your eyesight is 20/200. It doesn't mean that you can't see anything at all, although some people can't. I can see shapes and distinguish light and dark enough to keep me from bumping into or tripping over my own feet, most of the time.
I trip over my feet a lot, and I stumble into things occasionally. Does that mean I'm blind?
No, I think that means you're clumsy.
Oh.
I've got a C. C is for chronic illness, cancer, and chemotherapy. I have first-hand experience with those. 6 months ago, I had a total hysterectomy because of cancer, and I've been undergoing chemotherapy ever since. I don't know which is worse, the cutting or the chemo. After one of those treatments, I get so sick I can barely sit up without throwing up. And I've lost all my hair since I started chemotherapy. But I decided that, by God, if I wasn't gonna have hair, at least I was gonna have style. So nowadays, you don't see me unless I'm dressed to the teeth, and I still have those. My friends ask me how I feel about being my age, and not being able to have children. How do I explain to them that right now, I'd really rather have hair? I just take it one day at a time. C is for cancer, chemotherapy, and coping.
Well said.
Let me do this one. D is for deaf and for driving. My friends and I maintain that there is a special little angel whose full-time job is to watch over us deaf people when we're driving. I didn't know deaf people were poor drivers. They aren't. Did you ever try to drive and talk at the same time? Sure, I do it all the time. Well, yeah, but you use your mouth to talk. I use all of me. I see your point.
I have an E. E is for embarrassing. All those little moments that leave you wishing that the floor would open up and swallow you. Like when your guide dog decides to ad-lib at a restaurant in the middle of a date.
run over someone's toes with a wheelchair.
Or when you meet someone new and you barely have time to say hello and shake their hands before you throw up on their shoes. Or when you find yourself on a blind date with a guy whose hands are all over you because when your friend said he had fast hands, you thought he meant that he could sign real well.
Okay. Think they get the point. Moving right along now. F is for?
Pull it around!
No! F is for frustration.
Oh, you mean like finding a Maserati parked in the only handicapped parking space? You have no room to get out of the car.
Or dropping your house keys and spending the next 10 minutes on your hands and knees looking for them? Yeah, I'll buy that. I have a G. G is for goofs, as in the goofs people make when speaking to a person with a disability. People always panic the first time they say, "Good to see you." It wouldn't be so embarrassing for either one of us if they didn't make such a big deal about it.
I know what you mean. It's like the first person someone says to me, "Did you hear the one about?" And then it looks like you like to swallow those words. And I have an H. H is for healthy. People who are blind or deaf or in a wheelchair are no more likely to have health problems than anyone else in the population, but people tend to treat them as if they were delicate.
I've been called a lot of things in my time, but delicate isn't one of them.
Next, I is for isolation. One of the disadvantages of lying in this chair is that it physically isolates me from the people around me. Like, if I want to have a conversation with someone and that person is standing too close to me, I have to crane my neck, and it's uncomfortable. Or if that person squats down next to my chair, we can have good eye contact, but then he's uncomfortable. So the people I end up talking to end up standing several feet away where we can have good eye contact for a pleasant conversation from a distance. I just feel so apart from people.
I know what you mean. When I walk into a room, people draw back or shrink against the walls. I know they do it for all the right reasons, to avoid tripping me and all, but it always leaves me with the feeling of being so totally alone in a crowd, so isolated.
You want to talk about isolated? I'll show you isolated. Look at her.
Look at who?
Yeah, well, our deaf friend here. She's reading and she doesn't even know we're talking about her. You may feel physically isolated, but she's intellectually isolated. Oops.
What are they laughing at?
She's wearing a t-shirt that says, "I'm not deaf, I'm ignoring you."
I guess you've been told.
I guess so. Sorry. You go on.
J. J is for jokes. The same people who think ethnic jokes are bad would be shocked at some of the jokes that my disabled friends tell. Like, what do you say to a one-legged hitchhiker? Hop in.
Or what do you call a guy with no arms and no legs? Trustworthy.
I've got one. There once was a blind girl from Nantucket who said to the
I think they get the points. Moving right along now. K is for...
Kissing!
No! K is for careers. Disabled people are just as capable as working and pursuing a career as their able-bodied peers. My friend here may not make it as a tennis pro, but she'd make an awfully damn good lawyer. It's merely a question of finding a career that maximizes your strengths and minimizes your weaknesses.
The sentiment is fine, but I don't know how to tell you this. Career starts with a C, not a K.
Oh, well, it does. Huh. That brings me to my own disability. L is for learning disability. Some learning disabled people have trouble understanding what is said to them. Others have trouble putting their thoughts down on paper. And others are dyslexic. That means we can't read really well. I myself am a little dyslexic.
Wait. I thought that, is that like being like a little pregnant? I thought either you were or you weren't.
Not exactly. It comes in degrees. I can read pretty well. My problems show in my spelling. My teachers say my spelling isn't bad. It's atrocious.
I got the next two. M is for making out and N is for necking.
Cut that out. O is for overrated. People think that just because we're disabled, we have to be better than, braver than, stronger than, and more patient than everyone else. I think it's the media coverage of people with disabilities that leads to this misconception. When's the last time you saw a disabled person in a TV or in a movie who wasn't there because of their marvelous achievements in spite of their handicap. And the soap operas. Once they finish using a disabled person to enhance their plot, they have one of two choices. Either miraculous cure or kill them off. No wonder why you don't see more disabled people on TV. They don't last very long.
Next, P is for pity. You'd be surprised with some of the things I could get away with because no one wanted to deprive this poor handicapped boy. Yeah, well, if it looked like they weren't buying my helpless act, I'd simply fake a spasm. That usually clinched the matter.
Q is for questions. All of the hundreds of questions, stupid questions, personal questions people ask. What is that thing in your ear? Are your parents deaf? They are? Are you married? Well, are your children deaf? Can you hear this? Q is for questions and R is for rude, which is how I become after answering all of these questions.
All right, it's my turn. S is for sex!
All right.
All you ever think about.
Yes. I read in an article last week that the average American male my age has a sexual thought once every 19 seconds. Oops, I'm late.
All right, that's enough. T is for turkey. I've met some disabled people in my time who are real turkeys. Like, did you hear the one about the guy who spent thousands of dollars trying to cure his halitosis, only to find out nobody liked him anyways? Well, some disabled people would have been real turkeys even if they weren't disabled. Apparently, being disabled does not provide instant immunity to turkeyism. Is that a word?
I don't know what you just said, but I know what you mean. U is for under.
Under?
Yeah, under. Underrated, underestimated, underemployed, under.
Well, I have a V. V is for visibility. When you're disabled as I am, it's hard not to be highly visible. Since I'm in college, I could be in a lecture class with 150 other students, any of whom could cut class without the professor being aware of it. But if I wasn't there, you can bet it was noticed. I'd give a lot for little anonymity these days, you know?
W is for wheelchair, and X is for extra. Everyday activities may take a little extra. Extra effort, extra thought, extra help, but it can be done.
Nice try. Y is for yuck. As in what people think when they see a person with a visible disability. Yuck, or I'm glad it's not me. But it could be, you know. One of the things that scares able-bodied people about being disabled is that being disabled is the only minority that you can join at a moment's notice.
Point well taken. Well, I guess that brings us to Z. What are we gonna do with Z?
Zebra!
Zebra?
Yeah, zebra. Look at what we've been talking about all this time. Being handicapped isn't all that different, is it? Disabled people have jobs and interests and sexual appetites, just like everybody else. They aren't all that noble. They aren't all geniuses. They're more like you and me than they are different, but they are different. It's neither black nor white. It's a horse of a different color.
Quite well. Very good. At the podium.
No, that's fine.
Is it certified? All right, when is she going to speak?
You want to go inside? The crowd go in here?
Yeah. You taping right now?
Yeah.
About the Bobcats. I haven't read up on the Bobcats yet. Do you know what it is? I don't know if you were testing me or what.
Good evening!
Reading that they eat deer, so they got to be fast enough to take them down.
Glad I didn't bring Alyssa over here. I brought Trin over here to pet him, and I just made
CJ.
Trin leave her dog Alyssa behind.
CJ just